Introductions. I'll pass to my right, Amanda.
Amanda Field, Commissioner of the Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry.
Carl Wilson, Commissioner of the Department of Marine Resources.
Roger Burley, public member from Cliff Island.
Barbara Tracton, public member from Brunswick.
Joseph Anderson, senior planner.
Catherine Robbins Halstead, public member, Searsmont.
Beth Schiller, public member, Birmingham.
Laura Graham, Director.
All right, let's go ahead and finish up with staff.
Jason Goulet, senior planner.
Julia Leggio, Office Specialist.
Claire Drury, IFNW.
Dan Grenier, Maine Bureau of Foxborough.
Great, thank you, everyone. So just a reminder for folks, if you have your per diem forms, go ahead and submit those. And everybody should have had a copy of the minutes. I think we need a few minor.
Oh, yes, and on the slide, I put the corrections on the
Okay.
slide, actually, thanks to Flora. There we go.
So yeah, there was a couple of spelling corrections.
Yes, yes.
Other than that,
I move we accept.
all right,
Second.
great. And there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Great. Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to fund balances.
Exciting. All right, this tells you how much cash is in the account right now, not obviously anything to do with encumbrances or what's earmarked. But you can see we have a little, just a little under $21 million in the account earning interest. And we have to date earned interest of over $2.4 million. We have restricted gifts of $22,964, and we have unrestricted LMF gifts balance of $356,029.
Can you say a little more about the gifts?
The gifts? Yeah, these have been with us for a while. The restricted gifts are the ones, they come from outside places, we're eligible to accept, and so the restricted gifts are the ones that are confined. They need to be for land acquisitions. They're very good. And the unrestricted LMF gifts also come from other places where people don't designate that it must be for land. And that we have used, and then we are using now for our, to help defray the cost of our grants portal stuff. So it's there, it's there.
And then the earned interest is that $2,400,000 is from when?
From the beginning to now, to this is like,
Beginning.
since 2020, since the trust fund was, since the trust fund was put together. That's right. For a while, we were earning about $100,000 a month. And we're starting to see that slow down because the account balance is getting lower, but yeah, that's as it should be.
And just to clarify those gifts a little bit more, are those individual donors or are those grants or?
They're not grants, they're largely individual donors. I want to say that, I'm afraid I don't know so much. They're before my time, and for the most part, there was some from a bequest where somebody asked to be that in lieu of flowers that people give. So there's some, and the name escapes me at the moment, I'm sorry to say. But that was only a couple years ago. That was definitely on my watch. And we send out letters to people. We send out a thank you. We send out, but I'm realizing in this moment it'd be a lot nicer to actually have a list of who has contributed.
Interesting, and of course, that's what we've earned, but we've already allocated some. You're gonna get to that.
No, yes, and those restricted gifts and those unrestricted gifts, we don't generally pull those in for projects. Those are.
Stay as the corpus.
They're for
and
parties.
earning interest.
They're for parties, yeah, they stay, and they are earning interest. They are part of the interest generating.
And, but the interest, we have allocated some of that.
The interest, we've allocated a
You're gonna
whole
go
bunch
over
of that, and you'll
that.
see that, yeah.
And can you remind us of what the total LMF commitments have been since 1987? Do you have a handle on that? Is it 200 million-ish?
Oh, I don't know. I just don't know. I actually have a graph that shows all this.
Yeah.
All the parcels in, every dollar we've spent, it's online. If you want me to pull it up, I will pull it up and tell you.
You know, that's a wonderful statistic. I'd love to be able to pull that around.
And I'm awful darn proud of this graph. And so, because it took a fair amount to do it. So Jason especially knows how much combing through and making unredundant things.
I was describing this program to someone from North Carolina yesterday, and I'm trying to get a reasonably accurate number.
Yes. Okay, resources.
Between 150 and 200.
It's a good amount.
And then you should think about the match too, right?
Yeah, true.
Yes, the match is always like
The state money's been 159 and it's
Yeah,
about 300
right,
million.
exactly. Good point.
Exactly. Now, I don't think that this graph will show
The match,
that.
yeah.
And our match rules have changed a lot over time,
Yeah.
so it would actually get kind of blurry. Okay, so now let's see if I can find a nice, concise.
And in the interest of
So-
time, maybe it's something we could ask Laura to give us at a later point.
Absolutely, but I will tell you that LMF funds in the millions, $174.25 million have come through our.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But I
Thank you
think
for
at
the
a
question.
future meeting, to Judy's point, it would be nice to know with the match, kind of a big picture.
Total impact.
Yeah, total impact.
You know, okay, with the caution that because our rules have been so different, what we'll do if we do it broadly, we'll dilute the impact of how great match has been, like when we've had match, what it looks like. And if we dilute it over the time where we didn't require match at all, it may send a different message than would be quite accurate now. But
But
I'll
if
do
you're
it.
looking at the aggregate, it doesn't really matter, does it? If there were years we didn't match, it's still additive to that number of
It is.
170.
But it'll lower the percentage. It'll look like maybe we don't get one-to-one match. It could look like
I guess I wasn't interested in the percentage, I was interested
the
in a
total.
big number
Oh, yeah,
of
okay, yeah.
monies invested in land and water
Yeah.
conservation in our state.
I will be very happy.
Would you correct that for inflation?
Oh my gosh. I would not. Come on.
Well, but
Come on, Carol.
well, $1.87 is, $3 today, so.
Wow,
Right.
that's true. We could,
So you could give it to us in real dollars and in current dollars.
and you have no idea how much I love going down rabbit holes like that.
So Laura, I would leverage AI to help you. You feed that into ChatGPT and that will,
Good
they will
idea.
spit
Okay,
you out
yeah.
some.
And bring it, so total match, total value over time, with both our direct investments and match, and bringing it and placing it in current dollars, the impact in current dollars for, you okay?
Okay, there's it.
Okay.
There's a project for
This
you.
will be
$500 million.
more than 5 minutes, yes.
Yeah, $500 million. Yay,
It's a
yay
really
for us.
good day for us.
Okay, Roger.
I'll get very obsessive about it, and I'll make sure everything balances perfectly. So this is great. Any other questions about this? I did spend a certain amount of obsessive time because these are the very most updated. Here's all the money that's actually gone out of the account, right? So that is an obsessive thing I did to the wee hours last night, making sure this reconciles as well as possible with my other stuff. I'm not going to share that work with you because it's still a little rough and you wouldn't be interested, but I do appreciate the questions. There's more financial stuff. You ready for the next slide? Okay. Here we have, these are the unallocated funds. Here's what we have to spend, if you want to think it that way, but these are funds that are not allocated. These are going to be adjusted slightly given all my work last night, but this is pretty good. The interest allocated, this shows how the interest has been broken out and the remaining unallocated interest off on the right. So we've really used the interest very nicely. We're not holding anything back. And questions? Next slide. Okay, we got active projects. This is exactly, we have 45 projects. We have little over $17 million allocated, earmarked for those projects between acquisition and set aside costs. And any questions? And here we have a bunch of stuff. We had 2 closings, since the last board meeting, and we could have a lot of closings before the, September meeting. They're all in various stages of really right there. They could go in 3 weeks.
Carmen?
So Laura, if you go back to that previous slide, those are allocations.
Yes.
Where is what is remaining after allocate? Is that an upcoming
This is
slide?
this is that's what's remaining after allocation. That's what we have to spend, those unallocated funds. That's what that is.
Where is unallocated? So total funds, like
Total funds,
farmland.
those include set aside. So that's the larger number. That's the one that has, and that's what holds the money for the project costs plus all the set asides. That's the money that's not earmarked in any way in the account. On the left side, that's the big number.
So in working waterfront, you're saying we still have essentially 1.2 million,
Exactly.
still 1.3 in water access. and
That's right.
Under a million unallocated, but
That's
all
right.
the set asides have been taken out of it.
All the set asides are baked in there.
Or-
That's enough money for the set asides. On the right are what we have to allocate to projects directly.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's the baked in.
Okay, yeah.
Interest
And sorry,
earned,
I don't-
interest allocated.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Thank you.
And then, so there would be the number on the right plus that 178, 134 in interest that hasn't been allocated.
Exactly that. And we are not able to move any funds out of working waterfront or water access, because those were but we are able to move funds out of CNR if we see fit. That's a thing we can do.
I thought we could move funds because we put money into water access.
We could, except for this was when we got the 40 million, the legislature said you have to allocate at least 4 million to working waterfront, 4 million to working farmland, and 2 million to water access. And the balance of the 40 million you can put into conservation and rec. We have so far, and so you can't, so those numbers represent the sort of minimum amounts. We can't rate that big.
So I guess the answer to my question is the monies we moved in from CNR into water access in a previous board meeting have been expended.
Oh.
So these are now out of the 40 million is what you're saying and can't be touched.
Yeah, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So like for working farmland, we haven't moved any into working waterfront or water access. We moved money into CNR out of the interest, right? And we
I'm
moved-
back a few board meetings, I apologize.
Oh, no,
I can't even remember when it was, but we took money and put it into water access.
oh,
That was I think that would have been way back with bond funds rather than.
oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I'm just
Oh,
saying that's all
anyway.
expended and that's.
That's right.
So
We have
there's
no
no
bond
moving
funds.
it back because it's expended. This is the 40 million.
This is all we
Got
have.
it.
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry. I thought you meant last meeting and like, okay, yeah.
Laura, have we had to turn away working farmland projects because we don't have any funds in the account?
Not,
We
Not
haven't issued
yet.
a request for proposals for working on farmland
Right.
projects, so
but,
we haven't turned away because we haven't invited anybody to apply.
Yeah, I mean, from the last time that we did issue.
oh,
No, all the projects were funded last time.
Okay, and remind me, when was the last time we issued a call for farmland project?
I think it
September?
would have, yeah, it was last year, so we're
Last
not
year.
doing one this year.
Right, because we're out of money, but yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, something to think about, the demand for farmland protection, I think is only increasing. So as we go forward, just, it's unfortunate to see a zero balance there.
Yes, yes. And that zero balance was only because we moved money from interest in to make it happen for those. And there still could be, because we have farmland projects that haven't been appraised yet, there still could be more money moved into those projects.
That would have to come out of CNR.
Yeah, or interest, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we're going through the sofa, looking for change, sofa cushions looking for change right now, which is a funny way to think about, $3.5 million, but, because it is, earmarked for these other things. Any other questions?
Is, with limited experience with this group, is this an unusually low or is this an unusually high base
Now?
of unallocated funds, or is this kind of normal?
Well, I mean, this is the unallocated funds for obviously working farmland, that's nice and low. I mean, our charge was to spend this money, and this shows that we have done it, spend it or earmarked it. And working waterfront, it's kind of normal. Deirdre likes to do every other year for working waterfront, it's sort of a bigger, and she's planning to do a working waterfront in January, so we expect to see that go also.
That's good.
And there is demand out there for that, we're hearing it.
So we want this to be zero.
We want it to be zero.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we want to do right by.
But if I could say it is low, particularly in CNR, it's so low that we can't do a request for proposals in
Right.
going forward unless, and probably Laura's gonna give us an update on another 40 million. We need more money.
Have there been discussions with the governor about another round?
There were lots of discussions, but the legislature did not allocate money out of the, it's not in the budget.
So it's a whole nother,
Well, anything that happens would have to happen now in the supplemental budget next year.
yeah. Okay.
And I will say there are some bond bills that were carried over. They did not end up voting on in this session, so they'll pick them up, I assume, in the second half of the session. January.
Yeah, and I'm generally optimistic. There will be funding. We have broad support. It's just, we didn't get funded this time. I suspect we'll be funded in January. And we have to have funding available to us then in November if it's a bond or however that will go. So I'm not panicked about that.
And I think the closer all of these categories get to zero, the more urgent it becomes for.
The more pressure people start
Exactly.
putting on.
It's way nicer to go to them and say, we have no money. Than,
We have 7 million.
we have 7 million, but exactly.
But to Carl's point, if we have to go the bond route, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
So not only do the bonds have to pass in the legislature and have the governor sign them, then they have to go out and be approved by the citizens of Maine,
Yeah,
and then they have to be issued.
yeah.
So it could be a while.
Yeah.
And also to Carl's point, like I can understand, and to your point, that like having zero is effective in our
Both good
asking
news
for
and bad
money,
news.
but also I feel like I'm sitting at this table to be able to allocate more funds, so
Yeah.
I don't want a zero.
No, we want more money. Yeah.
And I also can understand that the energy to acquire more money often is very quiet for many reasons.
Yes.
And appreciate that in alignment with your thoughts that bonds will take a long time.
Yeah.
Both ends.
We're better positioned than most agencies looking for money, I think. We have broad support.
And my apologies, Laura, just another history lesson is needed, I think. How many bonds, so it sounded like this started in 87.
Yes,
And how many, so it must have been seeded with some money.
it was a bond, it was a bond, there, $35 million bond, I think I can't even remember
I
my
think
own.
that was a $50 million bond, maybe, and it came.
Yeah, there was a $35 million, then a $50 million, I just had that thing up here with all of our inflows. There have been quite a series, yeah, there was in 1987, it was a bond, a $35 million bond in 1987, then a $3 million general fund appropriation in 1998, and then in 1999, a $50 million bond, in 2005, a $12 million bond, 2007, a $20 million bond, 2009, a $9.25 million bond, and 2011, a $5 million bond, and then 2022, 21, and 22, a $40 million general fund appropriation.
So that's still less than, 35, 40 years, that's still less than 10,
Yeah,
slugs of money come in.
yeah, yeah. And it's been, people understand that the yo-yoing of the inflows and outflows really gets in the way if you want to achieve a thing or, make progress on anything. Being sporadic about it isn't the way to go for all kinds of reasons. Your planning is hard, other people's planning is hard. People have to know you're there in order to take the lead to conserve, knowing that they're gonna be money, right? So it's a whole system. Yeah, I appreciate it. I start to forget the history. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah.
And I would just say to Beth's point, there's a constant ongoing effort
Oh, yeah.
to find funding that is not bond dependent and not necessarily general fund allocations.
Yes.
So who knows, but certainly creating the trust fund was a brilliant effort on behalf of LMF. So I'm looking for another brilliant effort
Yes.
going forward, because clearly Maine people support this. I think if you looked at the results, it's usually 60% or over of Maine people support this. So if we could get away from this sporadic funding, it would be terrific. So people are looking at it as,
Yeah. And they like us, they really like us. I feel like Sally Field, rest in peace. They like us, they really like us, which is nice. Yeah. Any other, next slide? I can't remember if there's more money slides. We saw that one. Oh, yeah, recent closings, yep. And then into projects. You ready for me to just
All right, yep.
rip on that? So Stonington Lobster Co-op. All right, well, next slide, please. This is a co-op in Stonington, as you might have guessed. This is
Of all places.
I know, so crazy.
Of all places.
This is their second application before us. Their Stonington Co-op 1 was the one when I first joined LMF. And they took the money they got, invested in their wharf and infrastructure. They were one of the few wharfs, that wharf, that co-op number 1, survived the storm nicely, like barely a dent. Co-op number 2 was not so lucky. It did not survive quite so nicely. And so they're going to use these funds to do the same kind of infrastructure repair, building. You can see the fisheries that they have there. And they talk about in their region, there's a much broader array of possible fisheries, but this is what they're currently buying right now. Next slide. And there's some of the damage. Pretty sure those piers are supposed to connect to the decking above them. The Appraisal Oversight Committee did meet on June the 3rd, and they reported the appraiser reported a fair market value of $1,710,000. And the committee accepted the appraised value. We used the 25% rule in this case because it's already in an area zoned for working waterfront. There wouldn't be any covenant value otherwise. So this is what we do when mathematically, if you do before and after and there's no impact, this is what we do. We take the fair market value, we take 25% of that total fair market value, and we derive the covenant value from the appraised fair market value. And so that's what has happened here. This, I will note, this would result in a covenant, our obligation of $427,500, which is $10,000 less than is currently allocated. Their appraisal came in a wee bit lower.
And they're okay with that.
Yeah, they're great, yeah. So are we prepared to draft motion? I prepared to draft motion.
I move we approve the recommendation of the LMF Appraisal Oversight Committee and accept the appraiser's value of $1.710 million, deriving a covenant value of $427,500,000.
427.5, yeah.
Did I say it right, my eyes?
Okay, there's the motion.
So, we can't, no, there's no
It's a
second.
committee.
Oh, sorry, so it's a committee, right? It's a committee motion, so we don't need a second. Any discussion?
Can I just ask Carl a question? So I saw pogies there. I'm sort of interested in how big a portion of our, fisheries.
Just so many fogies. We had 7 boats this Saturday in front of our family's camp with the big
Yeah,
netting. I mean, it was fascinating to watch, but they were
It
there
is.
all day. Just, I'm like, how could, they can't be any more fish in that river. But they were back the next day. I mean, it's gonna be a huge landing.
So,
They use them for bait, right?
yeah, I mean, it's all lobster bait, and kind of very luckily as Atlantic herring taking some, it's like a 95% reduction in catch and biomass. Pogies kind of by miracle came in, and so they've almost replaced herring as.
Or by your design, Gar.
Yeah, we can't claim that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, so they have, the last 6 or 7 years, they've become a, significant portion of lobster bait.
it's 30 or 40 years ago, they were smothering the,
That's, yeah, and the difference from
Then they
30 or 40 years
stopped.
ago is that that smothering, they were getting pushed in by bluefish.
Yeah.
And that's not happening in this kind of pulse of the population, but, yeah, if pogies kind of senesced out and kind of went back to where they were, other than 30 or 40 years ago, the coast would be in trouble for being
So is,
alewives, just a small,
very small,
very small.
yeah,
so is it
important,
a
but small.
$40 million business? Is it how big would you say it is relative to other portions?
We had somewhere around 40 million pounds, and I'd say it's probably a $50 million business.
Business?
Yeah, that's then leveraging $1 billion.
Yeah, but, and is that mostly Maine fishermen who are taking advantage?
In
of
Maine,
that?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep, but Massachusetts, Rhode Island, yeah.
They
Sell
don't.
it.
It's a
down
state,
there.
it's a
They don't
state,
come
it's a
up
state
here.
waters fishery, correct, they do not come down.
They do not come up here. And I guess the other question is, speaking of pogies in your bay, it appears that sometimes these fishing vessels dump pogies, and then they came into Middle Bay while we were away, and I was getting all these emails about the smell and
Yeah, yeah.
what can we do to
What do you mean they
prevent that
don't?
kind of?
So
Dead
they
pogies.
have a daily catch limit, so if they catch more than they're allowed in the day, and they try not to, because to avoid any dead loss, but fish that are pursed up and that are, kind of really under stress, when they're in that purse, there invariably some die. Yeah. So yeah, that is something that people try to avoid, and because it's one of these negative feedback loops, so it comes back pretty
You
quickly.
gotta stay ahead of it.
Yeah. So there's different provisions where one boat can fill up, another boat can wrap another purseine around it and essentially set a net around a net, and so that allows that second net to then harvest their limit as well.
So it's some form of collaboration.
Yes, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, but without one person just doing a giant set and then just kind of bailing fish into boat after boat.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Sure, we need a second. All right, all those in favor? Aye. There's no one on the screen.
I know.
Okay, motion carried unanimously.
And,
All right,
we have another motion. Next slide. Here you go. Public notice for Stonington Lobster was advertised in the Bangor Daily News on June 28th. We received no comments. We drafted this proposed motion for the project.
I'd like to move that we confirm the allocation of $427,500 in working waterfront funding to support the acquisition subject to standard conditions.
Second.
this one does need a second, yeah. All right, so a motion and a second. Let's see, any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Right, project updates. Jason, are you gonna
Yeah, we have an update
walk
on
us through?
Hull Edge Farm. The soil testing that was done there found elevated PFAS levels, in slightly elevated in one and moderately significantly elevated in 3 out of 8 fields. No PFAS in the groundwater though. The landowner has been working with Northern Health on this. They have a plan for mitigating the harm and continuing their operations so that there are, there's no PFAS contamination in the end product. And we've also consulted with the PFAS response team that came in and spoke to the board the last meeting, whichever that was. The conclusion is that this is not a level of PFAS that is going to restrict agricultural uses of the property. So the recommendation from the Bureau of Agriculture is that this proceed as planned as far as the conservation project. And we consulted with the appraiser who has confirmed this does not affect the conclusion of value for the easement. All which is to say there's no action required from the board. This is just so that you all know that this is going on and that we have done our due diligence on making sure that this is still, the funds are still being well spent to preserve and protect agricultural land. If there are no questions, that is it.
All right. Now on to the main. Oh, sorry, Barbara. Yep.
I just wanted to tell Amanda that Miriam's use of the word agnostic is correct, but creative and duly noted. So I just wanted you to give her that feedback, that I was impressed with that.
She is impressive.
Yeah, really.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I've waited so long for this.
All right. Scoring review proposal. Laura, take it away.
Is there a better way to do this? And I want to be really clear, we all want to be clear, that the focus is not on what's wrong with our current system, it works just fine.
Yeah.
But on what we can do better. And I wanted to remember to say special thanks to Jody Sapphire for all her help with this and Judy East for all her help with this, pulling this memo together and helping me think through the process. So next slide. And the cool photo, right? I mean, you see the data points in the round, there's an organic structure and there's like a pointy, anyway, balance, right? So what would better look like? You'll see this is something of a reframing of the goals section of your memo, and I highlighted the Maine won't wait incorporated harmoniously into the above where appropriate. It's about our feeling here is that our scoring criteria should support the goals and principles of our statute and current state land acquisition policies. And with Maine won't wait, there are places where it could very harmoniously be incorporated into this without changing anything, without marching too far out of step with what the legislature has told us we're supposed to be doing. Our statute has already begun to incorporate Maine won't wait, but I emphasize that here so that no one would worry that this was about taking us off in a brand new uncharted territories direction. Not that Maine won't wait is uncharted. I want to give anybody who knows me at all knows how much I love this policy. The scoring process, the other thing what better would look like is that it be simple and user-friendly for applicants and the board. That's would be really nice. And that our criteria and process foster the clearest possible understanding of project selection and program priorities. There's a way all of these things fit together. I'll stop there for you'll see this again in your draft motion with the proposal. Next slide, Jason.
Oh, sorry, Carl.
Oh, sorry.
So, is Maine won't wait resilient to administration changes?
So this is why we would only go with it where it is already sort of in harmony with the statute, so that our scoring system isn't a fickle thing. It's kind of enduring. Is Maine won't wait resilient to administrative changes? I mean.
Administration,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, administration changes. Well, I suppose everything that one administration can do, a different administration can undo. which is part of the reason for the caution, to be sure that we're not, that what we're looking to first and foremost is our statute, which can also be changed. But if we are true to our statutory, our legislative direction, I think we'll be okay. Yes.
I guess I just have a question. I mean, the targets that are set in the current 4-year action plan, those can change over time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, yeah, I'm just wondering, referencing, are we referencing a document? Are we referencing, it's not being specific, it's a little bit.
Making it worse. So I was trying to make it better because, because part of the conversation, I think, will be, how does this fit in? Does this fit in? What parts of Maine will wait? And there's a, I have a slide with the statute and a slide with Maine will wait on the next two. I don't know if that would help. Because it's not everything in Maine will wait is appropriate for LMF.
Right.
And so, but there are things that, and I'll call them out here. And there are places where, and I highlight there, I think I highlight those slides too, where it's close, but it's not necessarily the same. The legislature has a clear set of priorities, things they identify as priorities, as does Maine will wait. They're not perfectly aligned. There's some differences, and that I imagined would be part of the discussion and part of the charge to the group, that they remember that it's grounded in statute, that our work has to be grounded in statute. I don't know if that.
But I don't know if Maine won't wait per se is grounded in statute. The Climate Council is,
Right, Maine will wait is not grounded in statute.
The targets are.
The Maine will wait definitely is not completely grounded in statute. There are places where it is, and especially in our statute, we talk about actions that can mitigate the effects of climate change. And so it's with that sort of sensibility. That's why I don't say Maine won't wait necessarily like imported, but the concepts where they're harmonious with the statute, it flows that direction. If Maine won't wait is in harmony with the statute, please look at that. If it's not, then don't.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
And then one might ask, if it's in harmony, why do we need it? Because we already have the statute.
If you're more comfortable with omitting Maine will wait entirely, you can.
My only comment is if you had a change of administration and there was, a kind of the pendulum went backwards.
Yep.
The Climate Council was still active during the LePage administration because it's a statutory responsibility. Right. So I just wondering if there's, I'd like to incorporate harmoniously into the above.
Right.
But does it actually expose this in a way that might be less, resilient across different administrations?
That's really a you call, right? This, and I'm so fine either way. My whole focus is really the statute, and I love our statute, and I love that I love where it is.
Yeah, and you say everyone likes us.
They do, and I want to preserve that.
Regardless of administration.
Exactly.
And so, yeah,
I think Carl has raised a really valid point here. We have enough difficulty in scoring based on the statutes, and for something that isn't, that's our responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, if it's already harmonious, then we're already doing it.
We don't have to talk about it.
I would be totally comfortable removing that and just dealing with our statutory responsibilities.
I would also be comfortable with that. Not that it matters. I'm not the board, but I wouldn't tear the heart out of this work. This work is our statute is in a good place.
Yeah.
And part of the reason I highlighted this was so that you all would be aware of this, where there's a little bit of, I wouldn't say disconnect, but where there are differences between Maine and Wade.
Just to add another perspective, well, I could support that, is that particularly if there's a limitation in funding, when we start to weigh applications, if there is not funding for everyone, incorporating the Maine won't wait does add an extra layer of, and the other questions we've had about diversity, geographic diversity, and impact of developing Maine in terms of the human development, like it adds us criteria for us to be able to say, okay, we're gonna weight this a little differently. It adds a meaningful layer.
But we could just say with the state's climate goals.
Yeah.
Climate action goals and not tie it to, because that Maine won't wait is tied pretty specifically to this administration and, or to the climate council goals. Some more of a statutory reference that would withstand, the next administration.
Yeah.
I mean, climate is part of our scoring, and that has been sometimes a challenge, because it's how we score the climate portion has been a challenge for us sometimes, I think.
When chairing the coastal marine working group, some of our conversations within Maine Won't Wait is, how do you put some of these principles, embed them within the system, so it's not just a signature program that the Mills administration puts through it and it goes away. Like you want to, these are principles that should endure, and this group feels very much like that as well. And yeah, I just question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't feel strongly one way or the other.
And thank you, and I appreciate why you put Maine Won't Wait in there, because as a board, we've brought it up almost every meeting when we're talking about
Right.
scoring, we do reference it, so I can appreciate that, but I think to the prior points, I do think we need to have our scoring focused on what the statute says, because if we don't, it's a one and done again, and it's just subject to change, and you're back at revisiting the scoring again. And I appreciate trying to get the ambiguity out of, like, the climate scoring and having actual, like, a table matrix or however you want to come up to accomplish that. But I think we do need numbers, and I think we need to stick to statute. And is there anything in the statute to geodiversification, to the best point? Because, okay, that was great.
And we'll see
because
that, yes.
I think that should be incorporated into, if we can, into the scoring, because that's something that's come up a lot.
Exactly, you're gonna be really pleased to see the priorities in the statute, you're gonna go like, oh, we're good. But, yes, and I think part of this work, for me, where this work begins is really immersing yourself in the statute and understanding how the pieces of the statute fit together, what things are described as attributes of a community conservation project, and what things are described as priorities, and there's a difference. And I have a feeling that part of our work, if you come to grapple with those concepts, we're going to be able to create a flow for our scoring that will make more sense to us. It won't be fewer details, but I think sometimes the organization and the arrangement can help us all better understand what we're doing at any given moment. Can we show the next slide?
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna suggest that maybe that first bullet would end with acquisition policies, period.
I think that would be
And
great.
then it lets you show the rest of the
That's great. That's great. That's great.
proposal, and then.
This is part why I highlighted, because I was feeling nervous about the same thing.
Yeah.
So, next slide, please. Okay, here are the priorities in the statute, and you will see where we're in such good shape. The board shall give this is, the first part is not particularly relevant to our conversation today. For priorities, for acquisitions funded by the Land for Maine's Future Trust Fund and the Conservation Recreation Fund, the board shall give priority to projects that conserve lands with multiple outstanding resource or recreation values or a single exceptional value. I want to highlight that that's the disjunctive there. Those are three different categories that help the state's natural ecosystems. There's our climate stuff. Wildlife and natural resource-based economies adapt to a changing climate, that provide geographic representation and that build upon or connect existing holdings. And I have not forgotten about the deer wintering areas. That is also that's also in the section 3A right here in this section. And that, I haven't forgotten about it. We didn't forget about that. It's also part of but it's less sort of coherent story here, so. So you can see that you're not losing anything particularly from Maine Won't Wait. Next slide, I have the Maine Won't Wait strategy E. From 2020, they suggested we revise scoring criteria for state conservation funding, which we would do anyway. And then 2024, and this is where you can see there's some differences. There's a little minor, but some differences. And our statute does not talk about as a priority, and this is going to sound terrible, but it does not say as a priority, expand equitable access and use for underserved communities. It does not say that. It includes underserved communities in the discussion of what's possible for a community conservation project.
Mm-hmm.
It says you can set aside land, you can acquire land for recreational use and including serving underserved communities. It does not call it out as the top priority. And sometimes these are like, and we already do this in our scoring. We already do this. So I don't feel like, well, this doesn't matter what I feel. You all have been pretty comfortable doing that and not feeling like but whether how you want this to go, how you want this discussion to go, I don't imagine you all being like, we don't care about underserved communities. That's not a thing I imagine you all saying, but these are different priorities. And I think that attribute, expanding equitable access and use for underserved communities, we will find a place to put it per the statute where the statute talks about it, if that makes any sense. I'm using my hands because it's a shape in my head right now, but if that makes any sense. The concept doesn't have to be lost, but it's framed a little differently, and that frame can have a huge impact on how you handle scoring. Is everybody nice and uncomfortable? Okay, next slide. And so then this was the proposed.
Wait a minute. Did we decide that we would omit that language relative, is that what we decided, Judy?
There's a slide for you to vote on where you're gonna be able to
Okay.
take that language out.
Okay.
This was just the
All right,
presentation.
I didn't want to leave that.
No,
without-
I don't want to leave anything
Waiting in
to
on
imagination or chance either. This is the time frame we talked about. July 28th is the start date because that's when I'm coming back from vacation. And so identify a facilitator. I think we need a facilitator. I would love it if you all would, we could follow a system where you all contact us, staff, let us know who you think would be a good facilitator. Trust me to bring a person to Judy Camuso, our board chair, for her approval, and let that be the person that facilitates. I got completely nervous about just tossing people's names around in the room. But if that would be an appropriate process for you all, you'd be comfortable. And then here is just the inquiry would be focused on the optimal approach to evaluating projects, giving the statute and state land acquisition priorities. And before the first, LMF staff would provide some sample non-binding frameworks to help people see what's possible. These are non-binding. These are to get people thinking. And the group has the freedom to take a fresh look within the statute, and the staff will provide regular progress reports to the board with an opportunity for you all to redirect us or something different. Next
So,
slide.
hold on, when's our next meeting?
September 9th.
So we'll get an update.
Yeah, and then there's another one, November 18th.
You would like recommendations for facilitators by July 18th?
Yeah, as soon as
20.
possible.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as possible. I'm leaving tomorrow, so I would love recommendations. I like to be on the phone to people and get it set up.
You have funding,
What's that?
you have funding.
Well, that's part of what I think we can use. That's the other thing, use my unrestricted for that kind of thing, if you're all okay with that. Okay, good.
Who is a stakeholder?
This is a huge question. So I welcome your input. Certainly we can think of the land trust, the people who use, we can think of towns, municipalities, and Jody's point too was like, hey, let's expand beyond the usual suspects. So I say in my paper, I will talk to GoPIF to see about if we need to expand, but it should be people who are committed to public access, I think, to really firmly committed to public access. I live in a certain amount of fear that someone will try to use the process for any kind of other agenda beyond this. We need to be just really grounding ourselves in our statute. But it also, we are very important. And there needs to be plenty of room for the public to see, comment, and engage. Yes.
Is there a perception that you are missing a population of participants, potential participants?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, if you're in land conservation or public access,
Right.
and what stone would you be under
Well,
that you haven't heard of?
let me say, I know, right? Let me say, one of the things Matt had suggestions, he wanted to be sure people were included who were involved with land trusts, but who hadn't applied lately or hadn't applied in a while. So I don't know what the possible universe is that I'm missing, because I would be fine to that. Because like you, I'm like, you're sitting around the table or you're involved in this, but I don't want to proceed without the opportunity for you all to be like, no, we should think about this group or that group. So don't
I think
want
I think it's a very important question because, getting back to the statute and our statutory responsibilities, we're not trying to reinvent the statutes.
No.
And, and nor, you have a very aggressive timeframe, by the way.
Yes.
So if you bring in people who really don't have any experience with Land for Maine's Future, I think it's going to be hard to meet that. And I don't know what ideal size you're thinking of, but,
Well, we had a
So-
process.
You had a good working group who helped you tweak the program before for the application. I would suggest tapping into them. They were familiar, they were effective, they worked already together. I would think that they were a good broad cross-section.
who was on that group? Do you remember?
It was Forest
state
Society of Maine,
agencies.
some state agencies, some land trusts. It was a good mixture.
And I
Yeah.
think, did Jody
Yeah.
facilitated that, so she would have the notes of who all participated in
Yes.
that.
And I took a bunch of notes. I typed a bunch of those notes.
Yeah.
So I could find out who.
Are we gonna limit the sort of number of people who serve on that group to a certain size, so it's not too unwieldy?
I think that would be a really good idea. And I think that would be a great idea for just that reason. That working group had it sort of expanded and contracted.
Yeah.
There were people that came in and joined, and I'd be okay with that if you'd be okay with that.
I would suggest that you set your dates, and it's gonna be hard because it's, summertime, but
Yeah.
you ideally would get them to commit to the meetings.
Yeah.
Because I think it's harder to come to a conclusion and get where you want to if you have people coming and going and,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's just my thought.
yeah.
Is the board a stakeholder?
I was gonna
Yes.
ask if you
Oh,
want
yes, I'm so
member-
sorry.
Someone on the board to participate.
My thought was that anybody on the board who wanted to participate always could. If that feels too loosey-goosey.
I think it would be helpful to have someone, at least one person from the board that's designated to participate. And then, certainly I would be leaning on floor to represent, our interests. But I just think since we're the ones that actually do the scoring, being able to, if there's questions about how does the board deal with this, or how do we deal with that, I think it would be very helpful to have a member of the board there to answer those questions.
Definitely. And I also think because you all have the most experience with using it,
Mhm.
you have a real insight
Right.
into what is that other people can't have. That's valuable.
Barbara, are you volunteering?
No, I just was questioning
I
whether
think it's a
the
good point.
No, I
board
think-
was
I
a
think that'd be
stakeholder.
ideal.
Probably that was rhetorical on my part, but I think it has to be a certain size as a working group too. Again, you have an aggressive time frame, and although we may not be doing much scoring anytime soon unless things change.
So what do you think, a size of 10? Does that seem
I think that's too big.
okay?
I don't know, I was thinking more like 7, but depends how many.
The smaller, the better the conversations.
Mhm.
So long as you have the expertise around the table.
I actually think the size can fluctuate if you have a really good facilitator. So I think it's back to that discussion, making sure it's the right person to lead the discussion.
Do you feel as commissioners that someone from your department should be on this? So we should have 3 representing each of your departments?
I would think so. I mean, I think the designated state agencies have a lot of investment in this program and a lot of long-term commitment, so, I think it would be
You might need to be bigger than 7 then,
advantageous.
for sure, if you have 3.
Yeah,
Three state
yeah,
agencies
And
and
then
board
say
member
3
would be
land
4.
trusts, a board member, that's at 7, and,
yeah, it's a municipality.
yeah, and, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
7 to 10, and then, we'd have an average meeting of maybe 8 or 9 people.
yeah. Yeah, I think 10, like you say, I think 10, you're gonna have an average meeting that's tolerable and you've got everybody kind of at the table.
Just a quick question, and maybe this is to Judy and Amanda. I think in one of the, it was one of the 2 meetings, other 2 meetings that I've been to, is departments, how do you guys work through this? I mean, I know with DMR, it's basically my position and our head of policy, Deirdre Gilbert. And it really hasn't filtered down into other staff. So when we're saying somebody from the department's either gonna be myself or Deirdre. And she's largely been focused on the work and waterfront side of things, so, yeah, I'm just not sure how much I would be committing, have to commit, to go through, so just put that out there.
Right.
Yeah, I would say, because the working waterfronts are a little different, and foreign bills are different.
Just mute all participants, that'll take care of it.
You can right click that.
If you go to people,
Actually,
people,
looking at the-
yeah, there you go.
They're all muted now.
This is CNR scoring,
Yeah.
so it may not be
May not be
necessary
necessary for
appropriate
DMR,
because working waterfront and agriculture have their own unique
That's right.
That's
scoring.
true.
So it may be more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But certainly ACF sponsors lots of CNR projects. So,
Through BPL.
BPL, I would think someone from BPL
Yeah.
and someone from your department, so.
Yeah.
Someone from BPL definitely, because we get a lot of practice with that.
I like the way this is shaping up. If this is feeling, I mean, this is a lot easier for me too. This is, the better conversations we can have, and it's a pretty technical endeavor. It's a fairly, I think it requires really deep immersion in the subject matter. That's not gonna be everybody's thing.
Yeah, so good to have people that are familiar with the project to start with.
Yeah. And this first part is this first period of time is meant to be, as I say, for overall design. Built into this is finding a facilitator, getting people in panel, finding meeting times. My sense is that there would be 2 meetings in this period of time here. 2 good meetings. And then, the next slide I'll talk about the next section, where then the staff takes what they learn, puts it into, starts incorporating those details, feeds it back. Jason, could you go to the next slide? Oh, sorry. We do that work, and then, of course, we're providing progress reports. That would be at your board meeting, I think it's on the 18th of November. And then the deliverables to January, but I would beg for mercy that if it looks like it's gonna take longer, we could move that to March. One of the advantages of, so, yeah.
One of the advantages right now, at least for CNR, is we don't have funding to do another proposal, so if we need to extend it, there's not,
Yeah,
there's not a no vote going out that we're gonna bump up against.
yeah, and this is, we take this opportunity to do this work now.
Do it.
And then, would you go to the next slide, please, Jason? And so I have got two proposed motions. This one is pretty much, what I didn't anticipate was, the second one as amended by discussion. The first one, I didn't anticipate the change to the goals, but the discussion, we understand, if you put it back on the second one, Jason? Yeah, we understand that the first goal stops at land acquisition policies. Is that the charge? Okay.
That's good.
And then with that change, and then the process as we've discussed, the it'd be 10 people. People will contact me with ideas for facilitators. I'll talk to you about that and get that going. And we'll be off and running.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I would understand that draft board motion to say.
So do you want me to read it?
Yeah, so let's have a.
Okay, so I'll make the motion of, with a focus on, to direct LMF staff to engage with stakeholders and interested board members to convene a roundtable to review and recommend revisions to LMF scoring as follows. With a focus on conservation and recreation, ensure our scoring criteria are optimized to support the principles and goals of our statute and current state land acquisition policies. Simplify the scoring process for applicants and the board, and develop criteria and a process that foster the clearest possible understanding of project selection and program priorities.
Sorry.
All right.
And just by way of discussion, I want to just reiterate that I think stakeholders really need to have a stake in this. This isn't the time to bring in people who
Okay.
want to rewrite our statutes or add new mandates. And it's very important that this group realizes that they're advisory to the board.
Yes.
Set the right expectations.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Just a point of clarification, if the incorporating Maine and White where appropriate and in harmony is out of the
It's out.
motion,
Yeah.
can we take it out or strike it in this actual PowerPoint, just so it's,
Can you you can do that, right, Jason? He's got the up and running
Maybe.
one.
Well, our minutes should reflect the accurate
Yeah.
motion
Yeah,
as well.
there you go. There you go. Ooh, yay. I mean, I love Maine and White. Don't hear me say like, yay, it's gone. No, but this is, I think we're in good shape. There you go.
Okay, any more discussion?
I guess another thought related to process, if part of this is built on our ongoing discussions about just being aware of geographic diversity going forward, I think it might be worth considering if, say, there were 2 in-person meetings, having them be in different portions of the state, particularly one further north, to try to incorporate what we hope will be the burgeoning land trusts of the future.
Yes.
But people who are committed, with the firm knowledge that the second meeting might make sense to be down south, where it has made sense for there to be greater interest and there's greater history to build from.
Yeah, it's good. It's a really good process. If you hadn't said that, I would have thought right here and in so no, this is good. Everybody has to come to Augusta. So no, that's good.
Okay, any more discussion? Roger?
Yeah. So I said,
Oh, you were gonna
I
vote.
said, no,
Sorry.
vote.
Okay.
No, he was just gonna vote, I think.
Oh,
No, that's it, yeah.
I was just going to say that to Catherine's suggestion, I would be willing to serve if I could have an alternate. Just because, depending on when the meeting, I think it's important to have a board member at these meetings, someone who has enough understanding of it to be there and be a good point person for us. Just the aggressiveness of the meeting. If I couldn't go, I would want to have the permission to have an alternate. Catherine?
All right. Motion second. We have a board designee and an alternate. Any more discussion before we call the motion? All right, all those in favor? Good luck.
Thank you so much. I mean, Commissioner Beal knows very well how long I've wanted to do this. Thank you. Next slide, Jason. All right.
Staff update.
Whew, okay, staff changes, updates. I don't have as much to share as I wish I did, but I'll have more to share soon. The big thing, well, our limited period positions were made permanent. Hooray. Oh, our lives got better. And that means,
Just for clarification, when that happens, the people in those positions just become permanent, right?
Yes.
They don't have to reapply.
they don't have to reapply unless you're Joe, because Joe is in acting capacity. So he does, but that's in the works, that's happened, he's done what he needs to
Okay,
do, so
great.
that's where I think we're gonna be good. The other position, I've yet to determine whether I'm still talking through the implications, whether I'm gonna be able to finish with the process that we started and then stopped, or whether I'm gonna need to go back out. I won't know the answer. That's the working waterfront position, the NOAA funded position. I'm hoping that we're nearly done there. Joe, I've talked a bunch. I'm gonna throw it to you for Haystack.
Oh, for Haystack Mountain, this is the transfer from Mid-Coast Conservancy to Georges River Land Trust. The project closed just January 3rd this year, and the board approved that at our May 3rd meeting. Approved that transfer. We have a consent agreement that will follow the project agreement and was recorded with the deed, and that closed yesterday on Monday. And they're having a celebration July 24th, if anybody would like to come up. But Georges River Land Trust has a registration page for that, so celebration.
It's a beautiful site. It's a beautiful site. You know the area. Thanks, Joe. And LD 1072 and the Conservation Easement Registry, which is part of LD 1072. LD 1072 is made into law, so we have some housekeeping changes that are made into the statute. The one that I'm most excited about for our Land for Maine's Future statute is including the importance of working lands in the board's charge. I think it's about high time you're doing this work. And then the option to purchase at agricultural value comes into play. We get to use that for our working farmland. And then the Conservation Easement Registry, we are going to have the ability, the authorization to move our Conservation Easement Registry from what we have now to a GIS-based thing for everybody to be able to access. LD 1953 and its import, this is the, I hope I put the right LD numbers up there. 1953 is the one that allows for someone who's going to grant permanent public access and the conservation in conserved lands. This is a statute that says if you do this, you allow the public to do this, that you, in reliance upon the liability, landowner liability protection statute being in place, you have a vested property right, you have a vested permanent right in that protection. And we think this is going to be huge because there are plenty of conservation easement owners. It seems to be in the water these days. People are worried about the landowner liability statute going away. I don't know why that's in the water these days, but this is a pretty enormous thing for the legislature to have created a vested right like this.
Yeah.
And next time, Aaron and I and Joe will talk about Working Forest Society of Maine trip. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Upcoming meetings. ALC meeting, August.
I'll be traveling on September 9th, but I'll try and make it work.
Okay. Great. And the next board meeting is September 9th. Any other business that people want to raise? Bring up.
I move we adjourn.
All right, Roger. All those in favor? That was a speedy meeting.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Yeah, use that gavel.
Yeah.
Are we out, Joe? Are we out of,
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was
Wow.
great.
And, well, the best part of it is that.
So now we just have to do the work. Oh,
Only a one-way ticket out.
you emailed me, it was lovely.
Stay as
Oh, I
long
didn't-
as